Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Average Joe Sports Show, brought to you by AverageJoeSports.com, a blog for your everyday sportsman. I'm your host, Noah Strackbein, and today I'll be joined by special guest Tom Leach. We'll be talking about the college football playoffs and the Heisman race. Enjoy. The college football playoffs have been decided, and just like I guessed, Iowa's sitting out and Michigan State's sitting in. The final bracket goes Clemson versus Oklahoma and Michigan State versus Alabama. Me and Tom here are going to break down each individual matchup and see who comes out this year as the NCAA college football champion. Clemson snuck out an ACC title victory against a high-powered UNC offense impressively, and Oklahoma was handed the Big 12 title with a week off, now being able to face Clemson in the first round of the playoffs. For me and Tom, we're going to break down the whole Clemson versus Oklahoma matchup. Personally, I believe that a really tough matchup comes for Oklahoma as Clemson is ranked 12th in the nation in offense. Oklahoma is only ranked 31st. That's pretty hard. But Tom, I'm going to pass it over to you. What do you believe?
It is going to be. I think it'll be a good game. Clemson brings a good offense. Oklahoma brings a solid defense, and I believe that Oklahoma has seen high-powered offenses throughout the Big 12, and they play the likes of Oklahoma State, TCU, Baylor. So I think they'll be ready. But at the same time, Deshaun Watson for Clemson is a winner. You know, they always find a way to get it done, and it'll be a good matchup, I believe.
Be a good matchup. I think having such a high-powered quarterback really makes it tough for Oklahoma. I get that their defense has really had a good year. Their team overall has good a year. But the matchup I'm looking at is Baker Mayfield versus Deshaun Watson. I really think that Deshaun Watson, with his running ability, overpowers Mayfield, but Mayfield's still a winner. And to me personally, I think that puts Oklahoma in a really tight situation that could sneak out this victory. I don't know about you, but if I had to pick, I'd say that Oklahoma is going to come out on top on this one.
Absolutely, I agree. I mean, both quarterbacks can kill you in two ways, with their legs and with their throwing ability. But I would have to say I think Oklahoma gets a win, and I just think they're the better team on that day.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I definitely think that if you have numbers like Baker Mayfield does, and you have numbers that Deshaun Watson does, you're going to have a battle of the century. And I get that Watson's almost rushed for 1,000 yards, thrown for 3,500 plus yards, and he's got 41 total touchdowns. But I think that in the end, Oklahoma just looks like the better team right now. I still have believed that Clemson really hasn't played too many really hard teams, and I think that the Big 12 is talented. I know that they don't always win, but I think that they look pretty talented. So I don't know. I'm going to have to pick Oklahoma in this one. In a 2 versus 3 matchup, Alabama plays Michigan State in what could be an easy victory for the Crimson Tide. Alabama looked really impressive against Florida in the SEC Championship, and they looked even better against Auburn in the Iron Bowl. For Michigan State, however, they didn't look that impressive in the Big Ten Championship against Iowa, and that secondary of Iowa's really exposed Connor Cook in that Michigan State pass game. I don't know about you, but Derrick Henry looks scary every time he touches the field, and he's just getting better as the season goes on. And that's going to be really hard for a Michigan State offense, or defense, I mean. Tom, I don't know what you're thinking, but I believe that Bama's got an easy victory here.
I mean, I'll give credit to Michigan State. They played Iowa hard, but Iowa is not Alabama. Alabama's just a whole other monster. I mean, when you rank top 5 in basically every major category, defensive category, it's going to be a tough outing. My advice to Michigan State would be stack the line, do what you can to contain Derrick Henry. I say contain because you're not going to stop him, and try to make Jake Coker beat you. But he's looked good as well. I mean, for Michigan State, I see no salvation really in this game. It just doesn't look good.
Yeah, understandable. And Bama's defense is just like Iowa's, but so much better.
Right.
When you have the 3rd-ranked defense in the nation, that's really impressive to equip your high-powered offense. So Connor Cook's in for a day, or a scary day, as he faces Alabama in that whole entire Crimson Tide team. And when you have a player like Derrick Henry rushing for almost 2,000 yards and 25 touchdowns, not quite 25 touchdowns, but almost 25 touchdowns, then you should be scared, and they definitely should be scared, because anytime he touches the ball, it could be game over in 2 seconds. All it takes is one momentum switch for that game to finish right then and there. I give Michigan State credit for finally breaking into the top 4. They beat Ohio State early, and I get that the SEC was kind of weak this year, but Bama still does look good, and they play teams like LSU who always play them hard no matter what. I don't care if they finished 0-13, they're still going to play Alabama hard because that's just the rivalry that everyone waits for, and that's the rivalry that they wait for. So, Michigan State, I don't believe they have a chance. I think Bama's going to take this, and honestly, I believe Bama could take the whole NCAA championship easy. It's prediction time. Me and Tom are going to say why we believe, who's going to win each game, and then we're going to call a winner for the whole entire college football playoffs. Tom, I'm going to start with you. We're going to go Clemson versus Oklahoma. Who do you have winning?
I like Oklahoma. I think both quarterbacks are very dangerous, but I think Baker Mayfield and that defense find a way late. I'd say Oklahoma by 5.
5. Good prediction. I'm going to have to agree. I believe Oklahoma's got too much going for them right now. They just look really impressive. And understandably, Clemson is undefeated, and no one could say that they don't look good right now. But Oklahoma just looks more impressive than Clemson does. Next game, we're going to go Michigan State versus Bama. Who do you have winning that one?
I'm taking Bama all day in that matchup. I mean, it's just a tough matchup for Michigan State. Because of the way they like to play. Ground and pound just isn't going to work against Michigan State. I think Connor Cook's going to have to try and beat them with his arm, and it's just too much speed at the end of the day for Alabama. I like them by at least 10.
At least 10? Yeah, I believe that Bama's going to blow them out. I don't think that Connor Cook and that offense have a chance against the number 3rd ranked defense in the nation, and I think that Derrick Henry is just too scary right now, and he's just getting better, and I don't think anyone can stop him. I think he's going to rush for 50-plus attempts, and he might break 300 yards. So, yeah, I'd have to give Bama that one. And we're going to break it down a little bit. We're going to go Notre Dame versus Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl. Who do you have winning that one?
See, this one's a tough one for me because I am a Notre Dame fan at heart, but I do think Ohio State is a phenomenal team. They have players all around the board. I mean, they just plug the next guy in, whoever's up, and they have outstanding talent. If I had to pick on the spot, I would say Ohio State close.
Ohio State's going to win it. I'm gonna counter that one. I'm going to say Notre Dame pulls that off. I think that Ohio State looks good, but I think that Notre Dame finally clicked towards the end of the year, and although they couldn't beat Stanford late to possibly get into the top 4, I believe that they look good, and then that entire offense and that entire team is going to be looking to revenge themselves against Stanford, or not against Stanford, before that Stanford loss, and I think that Notre Dame's going to pull this one out. For the last one, who do you think's going to win it all? You have Oklahoma versus Bama. I mean, that's going to be a tough matchup if that ends up. Who do you have winning that all?
Well, we all know what happened a couple years in the Sugar Bowl. Oklahoma was able to take down Alabama, who looked like a juggernaut. Oklahoma does have the formula. A mobile quarterback usually gets it done against Nick Saban's defense, but I think he found the equation to contain a mobile quarterback like Baker Mayfield. So I do like Alabama. Close.
Alabama. Wow. I've been pushing Oklahoma for the past couple weeks. I think that they just look so impressive right now. I think that defense looks really good, and I know that they're ranked pretty low in the nation, but they still look scary good, and they play as a team, and Baker Mayfield's a winner, and I think that they're just going to pull it out. I think that when it comes down to it, I don't believe Alabama has any leadership on that team except for Derrick Henry, and that's going to hurt them. So I believe Oklahoma is going to get the first number 4 victory in a college football playoff. The biggest debate in college football this time of the year is hands down the Heisman race. This year, the finalists are Derrick Henry from Alabama, Christian McCaffrey from Stanford, and Deshaun Watson from Clemson, all with impressive seasons. I don't know about you, Tom, but this is a tough decision. Each of them putting up great numbers, and each of them leading their teams to impressive records. Hands down, who do you have winning it?
This is a very tough debate. I mean, 3 outstanding players all year consistently have been doing it. You got Deshaun Watson for Clemson, who's led his team to an undefeated season while putting up big numbers. You have Alabama's running back, Derrick Henry, who just steamrolled defenses all year. I mean, consistency hasn't been stopped yet. And then Christian McCaffrey, who just can do it all over the place. He'll line up him in the slot. He's in the backfield. He's all over the place. I mean, he did break Barry Sanders' all-purpose yards record in a season, which I think is amazing, really. But if I had to pick a winner, I think I'm going to take Derrick Henry. I mean, when you could rush for nearly 2,000 yards in the SEC, that's impressive. And I just think he's the most valuable player. to his team. But also, I do see Deshaun Watson making a very strong case because I think if you took him away from Clemson, it would hurt them a lot more than if you took Alabama or Derrick Henry, excuse me, away from Alabama. So, but I think if I had to pick, I'd take Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are making that push. I believe that overall, if you're looking the entire season, I know we're all sick of seeing quarterbacks win it, but Deshaun Watson has really led a great team and a great season, and he's really made his mark in college football as a sophomore. And understandably, people are going to think Derrick Henry is the best player in college football right now. That's because he is the best player in college football right now, and he's turned it up over the course of the past, well, the entire year total. But in the month of November alone, he's rushed for over 700 yards. That's really impressive, and that's what people are going to see. They're going to see, oh man, lately he's been tearing it up.
Right.
He should be in the Heisman race. So that's who people are going to look at. I think Derrick Henry's going to take it. If I had to choose, if I had to fill out my ballot, I'm marking my name next to Deshaun Watson because I believe that if you have 41 touchdowns in a season, lead a team in the ACC to an undefeated record and the first place in the entire college football rankings, you're about to play Oklahoma, possibly beat them and go to a college football championship. You pass for 3,500 plus yards and rush for almost 1,000. I think that you have to hand him the award. But if Derrick Henry wins it, that's duly noted. I mean, like you could hand it to him and feel okay about it. I would be okay about it. I'd even be okay if they handed it to Christian McCaffrey because if you break a record like that, you're running for nearly 2,000 yards. It's still an impressive year, and he would well be deserved of this award. They all would. So, and on a side note, if Christian McCaffrey wins this Heisman race, he'd be the first white running back to win the Heisman race since 1973. So that'd be pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
I just want to give a special thank you to Tom for coming on to the show. I mean, it means a lot to have you here. Glad to have you here, and we'd love to have you back.
Absolutely. I had a lot of fun. I mean, talking sports is the best thing I could think of. It's always fun, and I would definitely do it again.
Good. I'm sure we'll have you again. For the rest of you, make sure to go to averagejoesports.com, like the page, follow their Twitter page at AverageJoeSports, their Facebook page at AverageJoeSports, subscribe to the YouTube page, share, like, do what you got to do, and everyone have a good holiday.